One of the missions of the Hibulb Cultural Center and Natural History Preserve is to teach the history of the Tulalip tribes through its displays of artifacts and collections. We are grateful that Tulalip families have donated many items to the center for preservation and protection. Senior Curator Tessa Campbell and her team put a lot of time and effort in creating a new exhibit so it includes items that are of interest to the community, as well as be a teaching tool for the many school children that visit our museum each year. Today we learn that changing out an exhibit is a complex process requiring research, coordination, and timing. Welcome to Hibulb Conversations. I'm Michelle Hernandez, and today we're here with Tessa Campbell, Senior Curator of the Hibulb Cultural Center. We're going to discuss what goes into putting an exhibit together. Welcome, Tessa. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
First, please give us an overall description of the exhibit halls here at the Hibulb Cultural Center.
So we have a main gallery, which is 4,000 square feet, and it is a non-rotating gallery. It's our permanent exhibition. And we also have a 2,000 square foot gallery, which we rotate periodically, which I'll discuss later. And in addition, we have our canoe hall, which has some of our canoes on display and our rendition of a Coast Salish longhouse.
How often does the temporary gallery change?
It's pretty sporadic. It depends if it's a borrowed exhibit. We've borrowed, for example, the Smithsonian's Rampin' Up exhibit, and the loan periods for those are typically 3 months. But when we develop an exhibit in-house, which we've been doing for the last few exhibits, it takes about 1 year. We had Roots of Wisdom on exhibit, and that was up originally for 3 months, but OMSI asked if we wanted to extend that exhibit, and we had it for 5 months. So to answer your question, it ranges from 3 months to about a year.
Okay. What criteria do you look at when considering a new exhibit?
First of all, we want to consider if we have enough artifacts. That's the main part of our exhibitions. From there, we look for any photographs or is there enough content to develop an exhibit. And then from there, we want to know if we have, we can develop interactives for the exhibition.
Tell us about the process you go through when deciding the subject for a new exhibit.
That's a good question. We have a small staff of about 20 here at the Hibulb Cultural Center, and typically our suggestions are just when we hold staff meetings, and then a staff member suggests a topic, and then we go from there.
Our new temporary exhibit is the Tulalip Indian Fair. Can you tell us about how that came to?
Yeah, so I started back, I was hired on in 2009 and was learning about the collection, and there was one ribbon from the 1917 Indian Fair, and I was intrigued. It was just a cool looking object, and I encountered an article from the 1917 fair, and I was just like, wow, this was so cool. Mm-hmm. Tulalip had an Indian fair, right. Only if we could have an exhibit. And then, so over the years, more material entered the Hibulb's collections, and we finally had enough material to develop an exhibition.
Where did the material come from?
The majority came from Wayne Williams, the home of Wayne Williams, mm-hmm. His donation in 2012. He had a lot of the original pamphlets from the 1915 to 1922 Indian fairs. He had some of the award ribbons. He had photographs, and he also had a ton of archival materials.
Wow. So Tessa, once you have the concept in place, I'm sure there are many steps involved to bring an exhibit to reality. We want to know more about this, but we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Hibulb Conversations. We're here talking with Tessa Campbell, Senior Curator, about the process of putting together a new exhibit. Once you have decided on the subject matter, how do you develop the content of different components of the exhibit?
So developing an exhibit is similar to developing or writing a book. Each section of the exhibit kind of reflects like a chapter of a book. So what we do is we begin researching, and then it's not till later in the development process we develop the sections of the exhibit. It kind of, you develop it so it tells a story. It may be chronologically, it may be numerically, or it may just be like a storyline. So that's our process.
Wow. How far in advance do you start planning the next exhibit?
Typically here at Hibulb, we start planning a year in advance if we develop it in-house. We start with research and development. And for example, for the Indian Fair exhibit, that was the first thing we did, was immediately began researching. So we spent 3 months researching, collecting, gathering information. We researched newspapers, indexes. We went to Mohi to research their archival and photograph collection. And we also went to Sandpoint, the National Archives in Seattle, and spent about a week researching their archival collections, because they have a huge collection on Tulalip. I can't even estimate how many boxes they have. So, and then next becomes fabricating everything, making the interactives, writing the panels, and then we end with installation.
Can you tell us about the different departments here at Tulalip that you call on for their expertise?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we develop exhibits here at Hibulb, it's definitely, I say it takes a village. We collaborate with Taro's construction department. They have made us several of our components for our exhibits. For example, for the Indian Fair, they made the little fruit stand that you see in the exhibit, which is really cute.
They did a great job.
We also collaborate with language. If we include any Lushootseed in the exhibit, we call on them for helping us out with figuring out the words. We work with the Boys and Girls Club. They have, the art teacher there has had the students create artwork, which we've included in different exhibits. We work closely with TDS, as you know. They print all our panels for us. They do all our advertising. And we've worked with maintenance, who paints the galleries for us, which is a blessing.
Yeah, it's very important too. What about the promotion of the exhibit? I know the Tulalip History Project crew made a video to promote and play in the exhibit. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, they developed an excellent video, which you'll see Carrie Michael Williams in the video. And so they put some of the promo ads on Facebook and on our Facebook page. And then we also have, of course, our marketing team. You're head of marketing, and so we work with you to develop our marketing materials.
With the help of TDS.
With the help of TDS, yes.
I understand they used green screen so they could feature Carrie Michael against one of the photographs from the exhibit. How did that work out?
It worked out. It was awesome. It looks like he's there at the Tulalip Fair, you know, and the way they did it, it's like he's in modern times, but the background, it looks like circa 1917.
Right.
It's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
With so many different departments involved, how do you design a schedule so all the parts come together in the right order?
So we develop a timeline very early on. Once we start developing, we're in the research phase. It's a very long schedule, so we set deadlines way in advance for like writing the labels, installing panels, for timeline for when we must finish developing interactive. So we develop the timeline at least 9 months before the exhibit opens.
There's so much to do in putting together a new exhibit. I know we here at the Hibulb Cultural Center get involved, but now we know all the other contributions from other departments. We'll be right back with more Hibulb Conversations. Welcome back to Hibulb Conversations. We're here talking with Tessa Campbell about all that goes into installing a new exhibit. Welcome back, Tessa. Tessa, I'm sure you were glad to have help with the installation. Everything seemed to go smoothly, but were there any mishaps?
Nothing too major. The only mishap was you'll see in our garden interactive, there are some garden beds that actually my father, Walt Campbell, built for us. And our plan was to put this play dirt.
So it's not real dirt. What is it then?
It's like kinetic sand. It's non-toxic and it doesn't make a mess. So that's why we wanted a bunch of it to fill up the bed. So I ended up ordering it from various places, like eBay had a bag, and then I found a bag from some other site, and then this company in New York had several buckets of it. So we don't have enough dirt right now, but it's enough. So once Amazon restocks their order, we'll order a bunch more.
Oh, good. So here we have some highlights of the time-lapse video of the installation taken by J.D. Maurer. If only we could all work so fast. How long did it really take?
On average, our exhibits take about 3 weeks to install. We allot about 1 week for painting the gallery. It really only takes about 3 days to paint the gallery, but we allot the extra 2 days in case there's some sort of snafu, like the painter gets sick, or we did have some actual issues with the paint this time. The wrong paint color was purchased, so it took an extra day to paint the gallery, so it took 4 days. And then the actual installation of everything, the artifacts, the cases, took about 2 weeks.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Tell us a little bit about the opening night of the exhibit. How was it received?
I felt it was very well received. We go all out for our opening nights. It's catered by the resort, the Tulalip Resort, so we have some wonderful appetizers and we have a wonderful program. We had about 50 guests attend, which I feel is a good turnout. And over the night, I heard a lot of positive feedback, and ever since that night, since the opening, I've heard positive feedback from our education staff, Mary Jane and Carrie Michael Williams.
You have quite a few interactive stations designed for children. Is this typical?
Yes, absolutely. We receive a lot of school tours, especially from Marysville 3rd grade. And so we try to cater our exhibition content to this grade level. So we worked closely with TDS to develop an interactive touchscreen video game. So the math that they do is reflective of grades, 3rd grade up through 5th grade.
Great.
And there's a chalkboard wall, there's the garden beds, which I discussed, and then there's a farmer's market stand with a cash register where kids can practice their math skills.
That is both of my daughter's favorite.
Yes.
What sorts of things do we have for the adults?
So the feedback I've heard from Mary Jane, because she's always in the exhibitions, she gets to monitor and see how people interact with the exhibits. She said it's great because there's content for both adults and children. So the kids will kind of monitor their kids and they'll kind of split off and go read the contents while their kids are playing in the interactives. So we have some displays. We have a replica display of the 1917 Indian Fair. So we took a Brady photograph and did a replica display. And then we have a lot of the archival materials throughout the exhibit, which the adults can peruse at their leisure.
Right. So do you have anything in the works for next year?
Yes, we just held our last staff meeting last week, and which you were there, and we were discussing the topic of wool weaving, honoring our Tulalip wool weavers and discussing the history. And I believe we can come up with a lot of content to develop a big exhibit and some interactives. And it's great, we just hired a new assistant curator, Emily Smith. She actually was hired on her first day is the first day of installation of the Tulalip Indian Fair exhibit. So she jumped right in and
Hit the
it was
ground
all
running.
hands on, yeah. So we're very excited for this next topic of wool weaving.
Me too. It's going to be great. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here and talking with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure being here.
We have really enjoyed learning about what it takes to create and install a new exhibit here at the Hibulb Cultural Center. Until next time, I'm Michelle Hernandez. Thank you for watching Hibulb Conversations.